Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 6th of August. It is Wednesday. We do have a 6-game day slate and a 5-game main slate this evening. A couple of kind of smaller slates ahead of us. Don't think we have much to worry about from weather. Going to take a look to see if our weather station's been updated, and it has. As you can see, no weather to worry about. Colorado, it's going to be nearly 100, with winds blowing straight out to center. It's a pretty offensive environment. Not sure if that game's even on a slate. Might be its own slate. Not one that I'm going to touch on in this video for pitching. But that weather looks like we're just going to play a bunch of bats again. Toronto bats. Exactly. But upper 70s, lower 80s in a lot of places. Wind slightly blown out in LA as well. So maybe there's some options there. Wind slightly blowing out in Washington. Slightly out in Boston. Across the field in Chicago, in Wrigley, but it is in the upper 80s. Probably a decent spot for hitting at this point. So, let's switch over to the actual games. A reminder, this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I'll cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that said and done, let's just jump in game by game. Baltimore, Philly. Ranger Suarez definitely in play for me. I like using left-handed pitchers against Baltimore. I like Ranger Suarez quite a bit, just in general. He hasn't been as good at home, obviously, which is not ideal. But I think he comes into play pretty well on this particular slate. So I do like the upside that he offers against Baltimore. Trevor Rogers has been phenomenal. 26.5 fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 starts. 2 runs or fewer in 7 straight and 8 of 9 starts so far this season. Philly does offer some power, but I do think one of the best ways to attack them is with left-handed pitching right now. Even though Schwarber has a ton of power against everybody, they just seem to be mediocre against left-handed pitching overall, at least in my mind. I'm not looking at any numbers, but Rogers has looked phenomenal in Wrigley against a tough Cubs squad. Put up his best start of the season. Hasn't had the most difficult of schedules to deal with overall, but still, I think Trevor Rogers is super interesting on this particular slate. Next game, San Francisco and Pittsburgh. Robbie Ray, definitely somebody I want to use. He's been a little bit more volatile recently. His last start against the Mets on the road was pretty strong. Just a solo home run allowed. And some of his numbers take a hit on the road. But he's a better strikeout guy on the road. Allows more home runs, more walks per 9, etc. But fairly steady in a fantasy point perspective. A little over 19 per game in both settings. Robbie Ray against a weak Pittsburgh team, definitely something I'm interested in. Andrew Heaney, a little shocked that he didn't get traded at the deadline. Not a big K guy, but can randomly put up some games. He's at his best when at home. 2 starts ago was pretty strong. About a month ago, just over a month ago now, against St. Louis was spectacular. That shows us what he's capable of. But aside from those 2 starts, both at home, mind you, he has 6 negative fantasy point performances over his last 8 starts. Not really somebody that excites me. With that said, he is at home. It is very interesting because he does have the upside. He's just super volatile. I'm kind of interested in Andrew Heaney. Feels weird to say it, given his struggles, but I am kind of interested at this point. But the way we're starting out here, I'm going to have to eliminate some pitchers, so maybe Heaney doesn't end up in my pitcher pool. Just because the other 3 guys that we've talked about so far are guys that I'm definitely more interested in than Heaney. As we see, sub 4% ownership as well, so I'm definitely interested there. Sub 4 on Trevor Rogers. Sign me up for that, for a guy that's been phenomenal for them. Next game, Minnesota, Detroit. Minnesota actually just came out that, I think, where is he? Pearson Ole is actually going to get the start today. Not really sure how to feel about it, given that he just threw 3 innings. On the 2nd, after throwing 3 innings on the 29th as well. Not really sure what their plans are, but it does kind of take a pitcher out of play at this point. Just don't expect Joe Ryan to start. I'm going to have to double check my notifications to make sure that was accurate, but if some reason Joe Ryan does start, he's certainly going to be a playable option, but I am planning on Joe Ryan not starting. Other side, Flaherty, definitely going to be in play. He's a little more volatile than we like. Kind of stabilized a little bit the last 2 starts. And we know the Twins lineup has gotten to be so weak. They are definitely in play. He's far better when at home, where he's at today. Big time K jump. Does allow more home runs at home, but still big time upside when pitching at home against a weak team like the Twins. Cleveland and the Mets. Both pitchers are viable. I'm not overly excited about David Peterson. He's fine. He's actually been really good at home. So he's certainly somebody that is in consideration. Did throw a complete game shutout. Has just 1 start over 20. I guess 2 starts, over 17-9 since then. Just not a huge K guy, where we need some Ks. Walks are kind of back again. 3 walks in 5 of his last 8 starts. So I think he's fine. I'm just not overly excited. I might actually prefer Heaney and his volatility over David Peterson. The other side, Gavin Williams, somebody that has stepped up in 2 out of his last 3 out of his last 5. Somebody that I've kind of been expecting some big things out of for a couple of years. It is a tough matchup. He's on the road where he has struggled. I want to dig into the matchup a little bit more. He's pretty severe reverse splits. So it might come down to how left-hand heavy the Mets lineup is. But he's somebody I'm very curious about, so I want to dig in more. I think he has more upside than Peterson does in this matchup. But how often does he get to that upside? I'm not so sure. Cincy in Chicago, warm weather in Wrigley. Not really going to use Cade Horton. I like him long-term as a major league pitcher. And he's been decent in 4 of his last 5 starts. I just don't think I'm going to get there. He's been really good at home. He's just not a big K guy at this point. So I just don't think we have to jam him in. Andrew Abbott, somebody that I want to use. He's coming off of a rough start. He has shown upside for sure. He's actually crushed against the Cubs in 2 starts this season. A lot of upside, and the Cubs lineup has struggled, so I am in on Andrew Abbott. At a decreased price point, too. I'm sure he has been a lot more expensive. Carlos Rodon, definitely somebody I'm going to utilize. Dominated against Texas the first time he faced them. Not as strong on the road, though his K numbers tick up when pitching on the road, and his home runs allowed drop. So I think I'm definitely in on Rodon. Not really interested in Leiter. with Judge back. I mean, Leiter could have a solid outing, but I'm just not all that interested in him. Switching over to the 5-gamer this evening. The A's in Washington. No thank you on either team, or either side. Springs may be viable. I may have to include him in my pool, but he's not somebody I'm prioritizing. He just might be a last man in. Cade Cavalli making his first start in the majors since 2022. He's also always somebody that had a lot of upside and intrigue. I'm going to have to dig into his rehab and everything in the minors before I make a decision, just because the A's have so much power, but they do strike out a lot. Boston, Kansas City, I'm going to pass on pitching here, which means that Springs might come into play. Walker's fine. He's coming off a great start against Toronto, one of the hottest teams in baseball. But he's so weaker on the road, and I just don't know if he has the upside we need. It is a short slate, so maybe. And Dustin May making his Boston debut. I am going to pass on Dustin May. Just not overly interested, plus Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much. Milwaukee, Atlanta. Quintana, probably a decent play, but he doesn't have a lot of upside, and I'm just not sure we want to go there without the upside. Not a big K guy at all. Relies on just not allowing base runners, but his upside seems to be capped, especially on DK. Spencer Strider, definitely someone I want to use, but he's super volatile. Strikeout numbers are even all over the place. He could come out and put up a game, like this against the Yankees, or he could struggle with a game like this against San Francisco. But the upside's there, so that's what we're looking for. So I will be playing Spencer Strider. Probably underweight to the field, based on what I'm looking at for pitching names. He's going to be fairly popular, just by name. Nestor Cortez making his San Diego debut. His last start with Milwaukee was really strong, and then he went on the IL. I like left-handed pitching against Arizona enough to think that I might be playing some Nestor Cortez tonight, which feels really gross. The other side, DeSclafani made his first start 5 days ago and was not good against the A's. I don't really like him here in this spot. San Diego doesn't strike out enough for me to take a chance on somebody like DeSclafani. Seattle and the White Sox, the chalkiest pitcher on the slate is going to be George Kirby. Back-to-back strong starts. He's pitching at home where he has been stronger. His K numbers aren't as good at home, but that's all right. Pretty decent matchup. Wu absolutely dominated last night, and a lot of people around the industry were kind of off of Wu, thinking that the White Sox could go into Seattle and do a little bit of damage. I know the White Sox in the second half have been better as an offense, but still, getting completely off of Brian Wu last night was a mistake for people. I say that because he was a core pitcher for me. If you are a member of DFS Army, you're aware that I made him a core pitcher as well. But Kirby, definitely going to be the strongest option on this particular slate. Jonathan Cannon, somebody that we've used before. I'm just not all that interested. His K numbers take a big hit when on the road. His home run rate kind of drops, but still, I'm just not excited to use Jonathan Cannon in his higher whip. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what it brings to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, we do have our merch store available. My hoodie. I'll put a link in the description. You can go check it out. That description here on the site is not made by me. I can assure you 100% I do not call myself that or refer to myself that way. I don't even refer to myself as this RazGPT either, but it was a cool concept. Anyways, that's all I got for you. As always, best of luck, everybody.